Okay, good evening everyone. So before I start the presentation, I would like to introducing myself. Hi, I'm Rizka Amalia Zahra with student number 12096241778 from class D1 2024. So today I'm gonna have a presentation about the analyze from text called "The Teachers Are Not Burned Out, They Are Being Set Up to Fail." Let's move to the presentation. We move to the next page and we have introduction. So the title of the text is "Teachers Aren't Burned Out, They Are Being Set Up to Fail." And the source of the text is from Education Week. The author is Alexandra Robbins, and date of publication is May 5th, 2023, and the type of the text is opinion article. Okay, we move to the next page. We have main claim. So from the first paragraph, Alexandra Robin writes that the term teacher burnout is a myth that blames teachers for their inability to cope with pressure. In fact, the root of the problem is a school system that fails to provide adequate support, resources, and working conditions. And for support my main thesis, there are three ideas. The first one is unrealistic workloads and lack of resources. For example, Penny, a math teacher, was required to teach a new curriculum without adequate resources and had to teach in an unhealthy classroom with mold that was not addressed by the school. And the second is lack of administrative support and poor treatment from parents. Penny, the math teacher, also faced pressure from parents making unreasonable demands, accompanied by school administration failing to address student discipline issues seriously. And the last one, we have poor compensation and excessive workload. In fact, many teachers are required to work beyond their contracted hours with additional pay, and some even have to take on side jobs to meet their living expenses. For me, the three ideas I mentioned are very effective because they provide and in my opinion, the three ideas I mentioned are very effective because they provide concrete examples that illustrate how a school system that fails to provide adequate support and resources causes teachers to feel stretches. And the three ideas I mentioned are very effective because they provide concrete examples that illustrate how a school system that fails to provide adequate support and resources, and it causes teachers to feel stressed and unsuccessful. Okay, so we move to the next page and we have reasoning in here. So in my opinion, the argument in the text is valid and coherent because if we examine the meaning, burnout is the result of chronic pressure in an unsupportive work environment and not just because of internal individual problems. This understanding aligns with the main argument presented, which states that teachers do not experience burnout due to personal weaknesses, but rather due to external factors present in the workplace. So after reasoning, we have context. In the context, we have several questions. So the first question is who wrote it? Who wrote the text? So this article was written by Alexandra Robbins, an investigative journalist and of course author of the book The Teachers A Year Inside America's Most Vulnerable Important Profession. Robbins also has first-hand experience as a substitute teacher and conducted research by following the lives of several teachers for a full year. And the next question is for what audience? So Alexandra Robin's main audience is educators, education policymakers, school administrators, and the general public who care about education issues and teacher welfare. And what's the purpose of this text of this article? So the purpose of this article is to change the perspective on teacher burnout by shifting the focus from blaming teachers to improving school systems that fail to support. And for the argument presented is very convincing, supported by Robin's real-life experience as a substitute teacher and a year-long research project in which he shadowed teachers. So this argument is also supported by study data showing that teacher stress is indeed very high, but the root of the problem lies in poor working conditions, unrealistic workloads, and a lack of support from the school system. And for the next page, we have conclusion. So for me, analyzing this article called Teachers Are Not Burned Out, They Are Set Up to Fail, taught me the importance of reading critically in a more in-depth and structured way. Critical reading is not just about understanding the content of the text, but also identifying the main thesis, evaluating the strength of the arguments, and understanding the context and purpose of the author. And this allows me to distinguish between strong opinions and those that are less well-founded, as well as see how evidence and real-life experiences supports an argument.